Hello. Presenting today our case study of Arturo Rodriguez. In this group, we have Desiree Malone, April Maple, and Carissa Martin. Next slide, please. We have presenting Arturo Rodriguez as a 4-year-old Hispanic male. His parents are Victor and Elena Rodriguez. He has been referred by a priest with the Catholic Church. Arturo has allegedly witnessed a violent raid in his home where his father was detained by police. As described by his mother and caregiver, Arturo is acting differently lately, and mother is looking for support to help her son. Next slide, please. According to the case file, Arturo has several symptoms. According to the DSM-5, there are 5 categories and 9 symptoms that are needed for this particular suspected diagnosis. In the DSM-5, the first category would be arousal, exaggerated fear. For Arturo, he has feelings of fear, anxiousness, he's scared, and has a startle response. According to his case information, his fear and anxiousness is coming from his father was arrested by police and he no longer knows where he is. This was done by policemen, which he's now scared of and tries to avoid. The second category for the DSM-5 would be avoidance symptoms. Arturo is afraid when he sees a police officer. He's afraid when he comes in for his counseling appointment, and he is no longer as cheerful and happy when he sees people that are strangers. According to the DSM-5 category, intrusion symptoms, Arturo meets that category because he is now having nightmares. He's now using diapers again. He's having a traumatic response to seeing his father violently be arrested and removed from the home. DSM-5 category for dissociative symptoms, Arturo is playing as an animal. He pretends that there's a lion, an elephant, and a bear, and he is looking for the lion, but the lion's been taken away. He's constantly playing as if he's lost items and trying to find them. For the DSM-5 category, negative mood, he used to be cuddly, he no longer is. He's no longer as happy and playful as he once was. According to those symptoms, Arturo has met 9 of the required symptoms within the 5 categories of the DSM-5 for acute stress disorder. Next slide, please. So according to what we have found through this case study, it appears that DSM-5 acute stress disorder would be a primary diagnosis for Arturo. Next slide.
The course of the illness for acute stress disorder in children is still being researched and developed. A lot of the information reflects back to PTSD. However, researchers have coined the term extinction learning. Extinction learning is when someone gradually pretty much becomes used to the trauma and they learn to adapt to their environment. Because they become more accustomed, they might experience less symptoms. However, if they don't become adapted, then they pretty much are re-traumatized continuously. In the case of Arturo, his duration was about a week since his mother at first reported the incident, and its symptoms have continued to occur as if they had just happened. So he's moving along the lines, if he continues to do so and experience symptoms, then he would start to approach the criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder. Obviously, with this, researchers believe that early intervention is best, and that would include CBT or medicinal interventions. Next slide, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Carissa. So I'm going to be going over the other diagnoses that were considered for Arturo. The number one diagnosis that we were considering was post-traumatic stress disorder. And then also adjustment disorders. Right now, we're going to start with the PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. This was the closest fit because Arturo meets all of the qualifications according to the DSM-5 TR for PTSD, except for that the timeline does not line up for him to qualify for PTSD. Arturo has experienced a traumatic event. He has presenting symptoms that match up with the diagnosis, such as loss of developmental skills. He has a preoccupation of patterns. He has a generalized fear of separation. He's having sleep disturbances, such as his bad dreams, not being able to sleep. But since in the case study, it says that it only was reported a week ago, it can't be diagnosed as PTSD until it happened over a month ago. And then the next one is adjustment disorders. For adjustment disorders, we were considering that because of the lack of adaptation or adjustment that Arturo has had since his father has been gone. The symptoms that Arturo was experiencing could be considered rumination, since he is experiencing, again, the preoccupation of patterns, the generalized fear of separation, and the sleep disturbances. The aspect of Arturo's symptoms that did not match up with the adjustment disorder was that the rumination did not appear to cause anger, depression, or guilt. In order to be diagnosed with an adjustment disorder, one of these three things will have to happen. Sorry about that. But just like the possible PTSD diagnosis, it would be extremely helpful to have the duration of the symptoms documented in the case file for further evaluation to see if Arturo qualifies for adjustment disorder or PTSD.
The cultural considerations for acute stress disorder, based on researchers, is a little bit harder to gauge depending on area. One of the things that they pointed out was that whether it's past or ongoing has a huge effect on whether or not someone is going to experience less symptoms or if they are going to adapt. In the case of Arturo, he has experienced a traumatic event and he's continuing day by day to relive his experience. And he comes from a family who is relying on community resources, so that may be a factor on what he can receive. And now he also has a negative connotation with law enforcement, which he would have continuous contact with, which is kind of re-traumatizing him. So those are just things that researchers keep in mind when they consider cultural aspects of acute stress disorder.
Okay, and then these are our references that we used, and that is our presentation. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.